Last week, in his introduction of Tia Sorn, Rich Beebe mentioned how over the years he's had the pleasure of introducing a number of alumni who have been guest speakers in chapel. He also mentioned that perhaps some of them were inspired by what they heard, enough to set them on a course to make human rights an important part of their lives. The same is true in general, I think, for the chapel program, which has invited many alumni to speak about their lives and accomplishments. And I always hope that this will give you a better sense of possibilities for your future, of a view even beyond college. I find today's graduate to be quite inspiring and think you will find the same. Her name is Anawara Anna Aman, and she's from the class of 2001, and she's a West. It was not until Anna was a senior that many of us realized she was an accomplished dancer and singer. And there's some good stories. If any of you are interested, ask Mr. Coffin. There's quite a good story about Mr. Coffin and her dancing and singing. In fact, she is a professionally recorded artist. But more importantly than this, Anna is one of the co-founders of the Child Foundation, a nonprofit welfare organization working for individuals with special needs. She started the Child Foundation with the intention to eradicate disability discrimination and promote an inclusive society in both academic and work environments. Through this foundation, she has been able to organize workshops to help children, youth, and adults with special needs to provide education, training, and support necessary for developing their physical, emotional, intellectual, educational, and spiritual health. This has been a project that's very close to her heart, and she'll explain why. And she is committed to create awareness about both physical and mental health so individuals affected are no longer stigmatized or marginalized. Anna is also one of the directors of the Mon Spinning Mills, a company that specializes in manufacturing value-added textile yarn for buyers like H&M, Marks & Spencer, and Esprit. She graduated from Clark University with a double major in studio art and art history, and then went on to complete a law degree at the University of London. Her husband is with her today, Tareen Aman, and he is the managing director of Aman Spinning, and which is based in Bangladesh. They live in New York, but he travels back and forth to Bangladesh. In fact, he's leaving, I think, tomorrow for Japan, and then he'll go to California and come back here and then go back to Bangladesh. He is very busy. He, along with his wife, with Anna, founded the Child Foundation, a nonprofit, again, welfare organization for individuals with special needs. The goal of the foundation is to empower children with special needs so that others can see them for their ability rather than their disability. Anna and Tareen have provided training workshops for Bangladeshi therapists and doctors and initiated widespread awareness programs promoting inclusion both in the academic and the work environment. So please join me in welcoming Anna Anawara.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Mr. Hunterford, for that wonderful introduction. And I thank you and the faculty for inviting me, for thinking that, I can come here and speak to you guys and that would be of any value. I'm truly honored for this opportunity where I get to talk to you guys about my experience here and experience after Westover and also about Child Foundation. So just to begin, a little bit about myself. I actually was born in Bangladesh and I came to Westover when I was 12. I believe that was the youngest incoming age at the time when I was here. So I was basically the baby at Westover. I was the youngest, and I was schooled in Bangladesh before I came here. So in Bangladesh, everything was in Bengali. Yes, we had English classes where we learned how to read and write, but spoken English is not something that was done regularly. So when I came here, I had very hard time the first couple of months. Just to give you a few examples, one that comes to my mind because we are at chapel, there was one particular chapel that Mr. Hungerford did, and the topic was conflict resolution. So there I was sitting in chapel, and Mr. Hungerford every 2-3 sentences going conflict resolution this, conflict resolution that. I didn't know what conflict meant, and I didn't know what resolution meant. So for 40 minutes, I was just pretending that, okay, this made sense, and I tried not to fall asleep because it's hard to not fall asleep when you don't know what the topic is about. So that was one example. Another silly example I would say was at English 1. At that time it was Seamus who taught the course. So I go in, I think it was the second week of my time here. And I go there, Odyssey was the book we were doing at that time, and Seamus announced, okay, pop quiz, Friday. Okay, pop quiz. Sounded like something popping, something quiz. I don't know what exactly that meant. So I came home, did my homework, other homework, didn't really bother much. And next thing I know, I'm sitting in class and there's a quiz. And I'm like, oh, a test, where did this come from? I didn't know about this. And the person next to me, no, Seamus announced it last week that we're gonna have this today. I was like, okay. So I think my grade was 30% out of 100% from all the guessing that I was doing anymore, okay. So I came upstairs, I called my mom, I'm like, Mom, this is not the place, you're wasting all your money and resources on me because this is not happening. I don't understand my classes, I don't understand anything that goes on here. I'm not gonna be able to make friends because half the time I'm translating in my brain what they said in Bengali and then translating back into English, and they have moved on to another conversation. I don't know how I'm gonna do this, and I was crying, and Alice Holleran was my advisor at that time, and she took a very biological approach to explaining to me what was going on, and she said, guess what, you're the baby in your whole class, so you have the youngest brain, so you need to give it time, and it will grow, and you'll get it. That was it, and I was like, okay, I will listen to her. She seems very knowledgeable. I will just give it some time. And yeah, I would say that freshman year was very difficult, but I survived it, and I did it because I had a very, very supporting faculty. They took the extra time after class time. I went to their office. They took extra time to explaining to me the concept that wasn't clear to me. And I had a very good group of friends who were helping me. They would finish their homework and I would have a whole bunch of questions. What is this? How do I do this? And they would really coach me. And together, combined with the faculty support and the students' help, freshman year, I was by the end of freshman year, I was very comfortable, and I thought, okay, you know what, this is doable. And another void that I felt freshman year was the part about music. When I was in Bangladesh, I learned Bengali classical music since I was 4 years old. And I came here and I was like, okay, how am I gonna complete that void? Where am I gonna sing? Who's going to listen to me? So my teacher, Alice, again suggested, okay, try Glee Club, try chamber chorus, try overtones. And I was part of all of those three by junior, senior year. And I realized music has no language barrier. So I found comfort in being part of these groups, and I felt like, okay, I was doing something, I was proud of myself, I was gaining back my confidence, and junior, senior year, I became proctor for international students, and I was able to help them through their homesickness, through the struggles they were having by not understanding English or whatever they wanted to talk to me about. And I felt like I was finally getting to experience Westover the way I was supposed to. So in terms of stories about Westover, I could take the whole day and just keep going. But it was also thanks to my faculty, Mrs. Hungerford, who introduced me to painting, and that's what I majored in college. Before Westover, I didn't even pick up a single brush or ever even knew that I could paint or draw. And I thank the faculty at Westover for giving me these wonderful 4 years, which I would say has been the foundation of who I am today. And this is very important when I talk to you guys about the later part of my life, where I have been very involved with disabilities and children with disabilities. It is very important that children, when they're growing up, they have a supportive community. And this community does not only mean that parents have to be supported. It has to be the entire society, entire community needs to be supported for any child to succeed, let alone with disability, without disability, every child. And that's why there's this saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and it's even more true for children who have disabilities. That support needs to be stronger. So for me, my initial village has been Westover, and I thank every single one of my friends, my faculty for that. So after I finished Westover, I went to Clark University, and I was very anxious, like some of you seniors are here probably very anxious. Oh my God, 4 years, it was very nice here. I finally got the hang of it. Now I have to go out into this whole new environment again. But I just have to say one thing about Westover is that it has prepared you for anything, and I mean anything. So when I went from Westover to my college, I did not have any difficulty transitioning because I was already prepared to do multitasking, prepared to do time management, and prepared to be not homesick anymore. That was a plus. So I remember my orientation week, everybody was kind of nervous where to go, where to be. And I think my neighbor right across from the hall, I heard her crying, like literally I could hear her crying because she was missing home so much. And I went up to her and I was able to help her because I already hung all my tapestries on the wall. I already knew where my things are. I was right at home. So Westover does really prepare you for college, and eventually I have to say for life. So after I finished college, I actually met my husband while I was in Massachusetts. He went to Boston College. And when we got married, we kind of knew that I would move back to Bangladesh because that's where his work was. So again, I was faced with another big change in my life. So now, because I had been away from home so much, I didn't know how things were over there. So again, I felt uprooted, but I took the same values that I learned here, which kind of is that you accept the way you are, and you are who you are. You choose the people, how your values are, and you will be fine no matter where you are. So when I was in Bangladesh, I was able to, again, make friends, kind of start over again. And I finished my law degree from London University over there because that's something that I wanted to get into. And I also started a fashion house, a boutique, a small boutique, and where there were 20 people employed. And that gave me a very big sense of pride because I was able to support these 20 families through my boutique. And I also started working with my husband. So the master plan of life was I will work with my husband in the business, and I will have children, and everything will be smooth. But things always don't go how you plan. And I was visiting my mother in New York when I took my son to the pediatrician. It was just a regular routine checkup. I said, since we are here, why not, go to the pediatrician and go to a regular checkup. And through course of evaluations, we found out that he has autism. So I just want to see from a show of hands, how many of you kind of know what autism is or know somebody who has autism? heard of it? Okay, that's actually great. So when I found out that my son has autism, he was 2, and I clearly remember the moment that I found out, and it seemed like the whole world around me was falling apart. And the doctor's office was in Manhattan, and we came out, I was holding my son, I had my husband on one side and my father on the other side, and we were walking through a very busy street. And I remember everything became silent. I didn't hear any of the cars, as if nothing else was there. And I was just bombarded with all these questions. What is autism? Why did my son have autism? What does that mean? Is he ever going to speak? This is from the limited knowledge I had about autism at that time. Is he going to be verbal? Is he ever going to school? Is he ever going to make any friends? Is he ever going to have a girlfriend? Is he ever going to get married? Will he ever have a child? And also, if he ever has a child, will that child have autism? And what will happen when I'm not around? Who will take care of him? So all these questions just kept coming at me, and I just felt like so helpless. I just didn't know. I just needed to go home, sit down, and do research. And because I was a history major, this is something I did. Anything that I was interested in, I just researched, I read about it, I tried to learn about it. And when I was learning about it, there were some great websites. Internet is great. It's a great source for knowledge. There were some great websites that gave me insights on the basic knowledge that I needed to have. It gave me some websites that I could use to get the help he needed, the support he needed. But also, it had some websites that were very disappointing. And because when you first find out that, okay, your child has it, you want to find out, why did it happen? Was it me? Did I do something? Did I eat something wrong when I was pregnant? So there was this one website that I came across. It had this very strange idea about what causes autism. It said that it is caused by the mother. And it said that the mother, they have this theory called the refrigerator mother, where the mother is so cold during the pregnancy and so depressed and is so quiet, is not very social, so it has an effect on the baby. And it was at 2 o'clock at night. This is a tip number 1. Never Google anything at 2 in the morning. Nothing useful comes out of that at that time. And I was literally crying so loud, I woke up my husband. And he woke up and he said, what's going on? I said, this is what I did. I did this to my son. This is because of me. It's because of me. And I started crying. And he said, what did you read? And he just looked over it and he said, are you even reading this? You are anything but a refrigerator. You are so loud, so friendly, too friendly. I have to keep you tied to me so you don't just go off making friends. It's not you, so don't read everything and believe in what you read. So, so that was kind of how my initial response was. I just wanted to share. I actually haven't shared this with anybody else, but I feel right at home, so I'm sharing this. And I just want to talk a little bit about, when you hear about autism, you hear the terms autism spectrum disorder. So I'm sure some of you already know why that is, but I still want to make it a point to describe it. So when we look at a spectrum, we look at a color wheel. There's all these colors, and even between all these colors, you have the same color with different hues, different shades. And each of these shades of color are actually colors by themselves. And that explains autism in a very simple way. If you meet one person with autism, you literally have only met that one person with autism. And it's a spectrum because you could have somebody at the spectrum in the beginning where you could not even tell by looking. For example, my son is very high functioning, and he basically taught himself how to read English by 18 months. So he was reading, right now he's in 1st grade, he reads at a 4th grade level. I never had to sit him down and read with him, teach him ABCs, teach him numbers. he actually read me to sleep most of the time because he's like, Mommy, I want to read it, and he starts reading and I'm sleeping, so it made bedtime really easy for me. But, so that's one person, but that's not all there is to autism. If you look at my son, you only know my son. And there's this other end of the spectrum where you could have someone very low functioning, nonverbal, but even the most nonverbal individuals with autism, they have some way of communication. Right now, with the help of technology, there are many devices that help them to speak. Sometimes through the foundation that I'm going to talk a little bit about after, I had the chance of meeting with a lot of children who are on the spectrum. And Bangladesh, I would say, is where America was, say, 50 years ago in terms of autism, where there were not enough services, there was not enough diagnosis that was done. So these children who are lower functioning, who are 8 or 9, if they got the proper services from the age of 2, they would have been like my son. And that's when we kind of came about, with the foundation. Is because our child just by being in, then I was like, okay, I'm going to have him say this. I don't know why would it be so hard? He's such a bright boy, he can make a sentence. And my husband and I, we were sitting there holding water. We said, say, give water. He would say, give water, water. Give water, give water, water. For 45 minutes, I'm crying, he's getting frustrated, and I was just helpless. The next week, the first ABA therapy was scheduled, and the therapist came in, and I told him that, oh, he doesn't make sentences, so this is his background. The therapist just sits him down, simply bubbles. She was holding bubbles. Do the bubbles, and my son went, wow, bubbles. So then she goes, now say, give me bubbles. And it was like magic happening in front of my eyes. He says, give me bubbles. And there I was thinking, that's it? You were playing with bubbles and he said sentences and I've been going, nuts over this. So it's just that at the proper time, if proper help is given, proper resources given, everybody reaches their full potential. Similar to me over here. I had social communication issues too, but I had no diagnosis, but I didn't understand English. But I was given the support, I was given the help, I was never judged. Oh my God, look at her, her English is so funny. Never did I ever hear that or feel that. So I was comfortable, over here. So I'm comparing my son's experiences with myself, even though I have no diagnosis. And my point is that all you need is to accept that they're different, but not less. Some of them actually, just a statistic, just to explain to you, 40% of them have above to higher than above IQ. So when we hear about autism, there's a conception we get like, oh my God, kind of how they're portrayed in media. They're either super brilliant, smart, they're geeks, they're so smart, and maybe a little bit awkward. I think there's a show called The Big Bang Theory. There's a character that they say that one of the characters, I don't really watch that show, but might have autism. So the portrayal is they're very smart, but that's not all there is. There are also another part of the spectrum where they're lower functioning. But what happens is that because of the perception being like that, they're often misunderstood. Sometimes you have the expectations for them so high that, okay, they have to do this, by this amount of time. I'm talking about academically. That you are setting them up for failure and without the proper services. So you're putting the expectation higher, so they're gonna fail. And then sometimes they think, oh, this person has autism. He can never go to college. He can never finish high school. He can never become something big. You're putting the expectations so low that they're not reaching their full potential. So this is something that I feel is relevant here as well as in Bangladesh. Being in New York, I feel blessed because it's one of the states that is very good in terms of early services, and just overall giving the children equal opportunity. My son goes to a regular public school, and I just want to share statistics that boys are more likely to be diagnosed with diagnosis of autism. They are actually 5 times more at risk. So my son goes to a class of 8 students, and there were two openings. So then we get this message from the teacher, oh, we have an incoming girl, and all the parents would reply, oh, good, we got one girl, because, you know, most of the time what happens in these programs that he's in, they're all boys. And so right now I think there's another girl coming in, and he's in a great program, and as soon as we kind of accepted our son's diagnosis, even we had to accept it. And it wasn't easy, because you don't really know the unexpected. But that's true about everybody. We don't know whether this person who doesn't have autism will finish high school, will go to college, do these great things. He might not. But with my son, that I know already has autism, I'm always thinking, oh my God, this might not happen. This might never happen. So as a couple, we kind of have to sit down and talk about it, that we're not going to be thinking like that. We cannot put the expectations so high. He doesn't have to go to college if he doesn't want to. He doesn't have to go to college to be successful. But if he has the potential, we're going to make sure he gets all the resources he needs so that he can eventually go there. We will be there to help. So anyways, I just want to show you a little video about the foundation that we started. And the part of the reason why we also started is because in Bangladesh, we felt that there was a bigger need to do something. A lot of the times you would have kids who are on the spectrum. They are treated as if they're not really part of the community at all. Some of these children, if they have siblings that are neurotypical, the parents would invest all their money on the child that doesn't have the diagnosis. So these children who could be contributive to the society, they could be bright and smart, they could be doctors, engineers, or whatever the future might hold for them, they are just shunned and put in a room where their siblings are going to school and doing the same thing that they could do, only with little help. And also they don't have the most updated therapies, for example, ABA that I mentioned, they don't have that. And for somebody with autism, that is something that it has been scientifically proven that it shows improvement. So main thing is early detection, giving the support, and also giving a community and a society that doesn't judge them because of their diagnosis. And I'm very honored that I'm able to come here and speak to you about this, because I know at least today, actually April is Autism Awareness Month. That's why I kind of told Mr. Hungerford if I could come this month and talk about it. I usually don't find the month like, okay, breast cancer awareness week like this, but I feel like it's very important that in these months we come and talk about it, because at least, even if I am able to reach out to one person today and educate them a little bit, then I've done my part. And there's a lot of things that you can do that after you watch the video, I'll talk to you guys about. There's a lot that you can do to get involved in the cause. You can go into various careers that you might consider that work with children with special needs, not only autism, but with the population growing, it's 1 in 68 children who are diagnosed with autism. So by the time you are out in the world, chances will be you are sitting next to somebody who has autism, or you're working with somebody, or you are teaching someone. You are a regular teacher, but you could have somebody in your class. So it's, or you're a doctor, you might have a patient who comes in who has autism. You could be a dentist. You could be a businessman who has to handle people who are working with you. So in every aspect of life, you are going to be with a population that are easily misunderstood and are really just wanting for you guys to just give them a chance And so let's watch the video and you can get a sense of what we started. And this is just the
One has to
beginning.
get on with life, and I haven't done badly. People won't have enough time for you if you are always angry or complaining. Say the great Stephen Hawking. But, sadly enough, we keep on being angry and misunderstanding the precious jewels that all children are. Especially in a country like Bangladesh, where the mass population will shun a child with special needs and treat them as a liability. They're bullied in school or laughed at. They get scolded for no good reason, and in the worst case scenario, they get completely ignored without the root problem being ever solved or identified. But luckily, more and more initiatives are being taken and the scenario is changing, with increasing resources being spent to educate parents, doctors, and teachers. Child Foundation was incepted from the very idea to bridge the gap between what is perceived by the Bangladeshi society and what actually is. Every child is different, and it is our job to know who they really are.
Empowering everyday superheroes. আমরা মূলত মনে করি যে শিশুরা ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল যাদের স্পেশাল নিড আছে তারা সুপারহিরোদের মতোই, কারণ তাদের দৈনন্দিন জিনিসগুলো যেগুলো আমরা খুব সহজভাবে করেছি ওগুলো করতে তাদের অনেক কষ্ট করে করতে হয়, যেগুলো ABA যেটাকে বলে সেটা হচ্ছে অ্যাপ্লাইড বিহেভিয়ার অ্যানালিসিস। এটা ওয়ার্ল্ড ওয়াইড অ্যাকসেপ্টেড একটা মেথড যেটা সায়েন্টিফিকলি প্রুভ হয়েছে যে অটিজম যাদের আছে তাদের উপর এটা সবচেয়ে এফেক্টিভ একটা মেথড।
The core principle of the foundation is integrated within our very name. C stands for countrywide, H for health, I stands for initiative, L for learning, and D for development. Child Foundation.
চাইল্ড ফাউন্ডেশনে আমাদের গোল হচ্ছে শুধুমাত্র বাচ্চা না, বাচ্চারা ইউথ এবং অ্যাডাল্ট সবাইকে হেল্প করা, তাদের যে স্ট্রেংথ আছে স্ট্রেংথটা তুলে ধরা। আমরা মনে করি যে প্রায় সময় আমাদের সোসাইটিতে বাচ্চাদের ডিসেবিলিটিকে ফোকাস করা হয়, অ্যাবিলিটিকে দেখা হয় না। তো আমরা এই অ্যাবিলিটিটাকে ফোকাস করতে চাই। আমরা বাচ্চাদের যে স্ট্রেংথগুলো আছে ওগুলোকে আমরা মোটিভেট করে আরও নার্চার করতে চাই, যাতে ওরা সোসাইটিতে বড় কন্ট্রিবিউটর হিসেবে বেঁচে থাকতে পারে।
The workshop, held for the last 2 days, was targeted to increase awareness about our cause. The 2 days were separated in 4 specific objectives: an introduction of applied behavioral analysis by expert therapists, clinical evaluation sessions, evaluation tools for autism diagnostic and observation schedule, childhood autism rating scale, and hands-on instructions to professional doctors. Parent workshop, where the parents can speak about caring for children with special needs. All in all, the event was a big success and kindled hopes for possible solutions to problems they thought they could never solve.
সবচেয়ে ইম্পর্টেন্ট হচ্ছে বাংলাদেশে যেটা প্রযোজ্য নিউ ইয়র্কেও সেটা, বিকজ উই হ্যাভ সো মেনি পিপল ফ্রম সো মেনি ডিফারেন্ট, so many cultural backgrounds, so many educational backgrounds, and so many socio-economic backgrounds. আমাকে সবাই জিজ্ঞেস করে যে বাচ্চার নর্মাল কখন হবে। They have the capability and they have the personal. What the Child Foundation is doing is adding to that knowledge, adding by more training where there are gaps existing.
What is excellent about the foundation is that it's trying to educate not just the professional who needs additional training in the specialized area to help these children, but also the parents. It's important that whenever we do intervene and try and support our children with special needs, that is a holistic approach, that you have the community and you have the families all come together for one cause.
I think that the Child Foundation can help influence society in Bangladesh by providing tools and providing workshops and providing things that therapists can use, teachers can use, parents can use. For instance, this workshop now, we're giving training on different things that may not be available here, and we're creating the awareness of the needs here. So I feel like the Child Foundation can offer those things that Bangladesh needs in order to bridge the gap.
চাইল্ড ফাউন্ডেশন তাদের এই মহতি চ্যারিটি উদ্যোগের জন্য যেখানে তারা ফিজিশিয়ান, থেরাপিস্ট এবং সবাইকে একটা জায়গায় নিয়ে আসছেন, এবং তারা আজকে দিনের উপরে অ্যাওয়ারনেস এবং কিছু তাদের স্কিল ডেভেলপমেন্টের যে প্রোগ্রামগুলি আছে সেটা ওনারা যেটা করতেছেন, যে বিশেষ করে থেরাপিস্ট এবং সাইকোলজিস্ট যারা আছে তাদেরকে এবি এর উপরে একটা আপডেটেড ট্রেনিংয়ের ব্যবস্থা করেছেন, যেখানে তারা বিদেশ থেকে কয়েকজন স্পেশালিস্টকে নিয়ে আসেন যারা এক্সপার্ট অন এবিএ ইন ইউএসএ। তো আমি মনে করি এটা আমাদের টিচার এবং থেরাপিস্ট যারা আছে অথবা সাইকোলজিস্ট যারা আছে তাদের অলরেডি তো দেওয়ার এক্সপোর্ট, বাট আমি মনে করি যে তাদের সক্ষমতা বৃদ্ধিতে বিরাট ভূমিকা পালন করে।
এই ট্রেনিংয়ের মাধ্যমে হেলথ প্রফেশনালস পাশাপাশি সোসাইটি এবং যারা ক্লায়েন্ট মানে পার্সোনাল ডিসএবিলিটিস এরা সবাই উপকৃত হবে।
চাইল্ড ফাউন্ডেশন থেকে যে প্রোগ্রামটা করেছেন যারা তাদেরকে আমি ধন্যবাদ দিচ্ছি এই জন্য যে এই ধরনের প্রোগ্রাম মাঝে মাঝে আমাদের দেশে করা উচিত। এর জন্য মানে বাচ্চা স্টুডেন্ট এবং পেশেন্ট উভয় মানে উপকৃত হবেন।
চাইল্ড ফাউন্ডেশনকে অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ যে ওনারা এত সুন্দর একটা উদ্যোগ নিয়েছে, যে আমরা অনেক কিছু শিখলাম। এই অ্যাপ্লাইড বিহেভিয়ার অ্যানালাইসিসের উপরে আমরা যে জিনিসগুলো এখান থেকে শিখে যাচ্ছি এগুলো আমরা আমাদের বিভিন্নভাবে আমরা আমাদের বাচ্চাদের উপর অ্যাপ্লাই করতে পারবো। আর আমরা চাই ভবিষ্যতে চাইল্ড ফাউন্ডেশন যেন এই ধরনের আরও সুন্দর সুন্দর উদ্যোগ নেয়।
The ultimate goal is to create an accepting society that is aligned with the recent developments and eventually hone the misunderstood children to active contributors in the country.
We are doing in Bangladesh. We also do some things in New York as well where we do parent counseling because the taboo that is in Bangladesh is also here as well. Sometimes there are families who find out about the diagnosis and they refuse the services altogether. They just don't want to share with others that, okay, my child is autistic. And we had the option, because our son is high functioning, we had the option to not share and not tell. But we felt that it's our obligation to share our knowledge. And also, we wanted to make sure that our son never feels that we think anything less of him or we're not proud of him. We're actually very, very proud of him. And this is something that we want to kind of grow and empower him. And we want him to help others who have the diagnosis. So if you guys have any questions regarding this and how to get involved, you can come talk to me. And if you, there are some flyers that are out there. Autism Speaks is a great organization. You can look it up. They do a lot of walks throughout America to raise awareness and to raise money. Yeah, I think that you guys are the future. And when you guys go out in the world, the more accepting you are, more as a society we'll be growing together and be a better society altogether. Thank you so much. Thank you for
We'll just end it there. The flyers I will put on this table if anyone's interested. Thank you very much.